Amy Parks here with you, and what a pleasure it is to be with you this Friday night as we bring you all of the action from Jumping Amsterdam. It is, of course, this next leg in the Western European League of the World Cup sport. We have so much in store for you. It is fast, it is furious, it is a huge audience in that stadium tonight, and they are ready for some top level show jumping. We've got plenty coming your way. I'm not on my own here in the studio. We are delighted to welcome back our colleague from Equestrian and super friend of the show, Charlotte Smet. Charlotte, welcome.
Thank you, Amy. I've missed you, and it's so great to be back.
It really is, and it's a pleasure to be back. Here's Charlotte's sizzle reel. We couldn't not have it.
This week on In Out, we're joined by Charlotte Smet. Charlotte isn't just an analyst, she's a professional rider herself. That insider experience in the saddle gives her a unique perspective on the numbers, breaking down the data with a rider's instinct. From performance trends to those crucial split-second decisions on course, Charlotte connects analytics with what it really feels like out there in the arena. Get ready for sharper insights and smarter takes, only here on Clip My Horse TV. In Out.
Fab stuff. Now, word is Sam Watson from Equestrian never came back to the In and Out studio after he saw how good that sizzle reel was, and he was annoyed that he didn't have one himself.
Can't blame him, really.
I know, we have to make one for him, don't we? A better one. We did make one for him, but he wasn't happy. Diva antics. You've been out competing last weekend. That's why you weren't here with us. Hannah was in the studio with us. Hannah Robson is actually in Amsterdam for us this weekend. Super exciting stuff. We're going to talk a lot more about this incredible show. We're going to really dig into the analysis ahead of our class tonight, which is the Telegraph Prize from Amsterdam. But first, let's learn a little bit about this show. 4 fast facts then about Jumping Amsterdam, if you will. Of course, it's the 65th edition of Jumping Amsterdam. It is an FEI World Cup leg, as I mentioned at the top of the show there, the Western European League. We have dressage and we have jumping this weekend. Of course, last weekend in Leipzig, we had driving and jumping. Bit different this weekend. There's plenty of prize money on offer in Amsterdam as well. 547,850. Yes, €855. See, the numbers every week with the numbers prize money. That is up for grabs, and we have plus 50,000 visitors through those doors into that arena. It is sure to be an incredible atmosphere there in Amsterdam. And someone who is soaking it up and has been all week for us, she's going to give us a feel of what it's like down there, is our wonderful intrepid reporter. It's Have a Go, Hannah Robson.
Yes, thanks very much, Amy. What a show this is. And you just mentioned there the visitor numbers, the spectator numbers at this show. You can well believe it. You can just see behind me. They are absolutely packing out this area. So we're right by the chute here, which takes the riders from the warm-up ring into the arena. And the spectators can get really up close with them as they're warming up, as they're getting ready to compete. Then they can be just behind me. So it's quite a unique atmosphere. They're very close to the ring. They're very close to the horses, and it really makes the spectators feel that they're right in the heart of the action. As well, of course, as it being the 65th anniversary of this show. It started back in 1958, so it's been going for a long time. You can really imagine that it's quite a kind of party atmosphere here. People are super excited to be here. And of course, all of the top riders here as well. We've seen Julian Eppeyard earlier on today. We've had 2 earlier 5-star classes today, both of which have been really hotly contested, and we can't wait to see what this big class of the night brings.
Oh, well, terrific stuff. As I said, really looking forward to everything that's to come in Amsterdam. Hannah's been telling us that it is an incredible show, the energy in there. Great riders, great sport that we are always have come to expect from these World Cup shows, but also that energy that the crowd injects there will be something else. We're going to talk a bit more about that. But we were talking about this, Charlotte. There are so many great shows on across the world this weekend, a number of 5-star, 4-star shows with the top riders sort of split into continents across the world. If we have a look there at the map, you can see there's a CSI 4-star World Cup in Abu Dhabi this week, a 5-star there in Doha. It's the Al Shakab show, of course, as well as our Amsterdam show, that World Cup in dressage and in show jumping. We also have a CSI 4-star in Wellington. That is, of course, what we've come to know as WEF. That is there in Palm. My goodness me, where am I going today? I'm crazy. I'm like the crowd members in Amsterdam. I've overcome. Yeah, they're in Florida, in Wellington, WEF, of course. And then, of course, we have Thermal, which is in California. It's called the Desert Circuit. And there's been some incredible competition there, Charlotte, as we know. And a man that we have spoken so much about over the course of the year in the sport of show jumping, over the course of last year, of course, is Kent Farrington, and he's had a terrific week out there.
Absolutely. The world number one has definitely not missed his start in 2026. Winning again, already his second international win of 2026, and we're only 3 weeks in.
Yeah, incredible stuff. He won the Welcome Stakes there in Thermal. Let's take a look at his winning round.
Well, you can see why he's ranked first in the world at 33.88 seconds. What an amazing rider. That is Kent Farrington for the USA and Orafina. They are in first place by over 2 seconds. Skylar Warman moves in a second.
Super stuff there from Kent Farrington, Orafina. Of course, we talk so much about Greya, so much about Telena, but Orafina, we're seeing blazing a trail into 2026.
Yes, it's actually both of Kent's wins this year so far have come from Orafina. She won the 3-star Grand Prix in Ocala just a couple of weeks ago and winning here again at the 5-star level. So really hitting the ground running.
So much terrific sport taking place across the world. Of course, it's all available to you on Clip My Horse TV. So make sure you are a premium subscriber to enjoy all of that anytime and anywhere. We're going to turn our attention, of course, now to our feature show this evening. It is, of course, Jumping Amsterdam. We want to get into things, but we've had a little bit of a feel of what this show is like. But let's get to know it. Hannah Robson has been out and about learning more about Jumping Amsterdam.
The next leg of the World Cup series brings us to Jumping Amsterdam, a really historic event right in the heart of the city. It's also hosted the World Cup finals for dressage, where the horses are heading into the venue now. So let's go inside and take a look around. Well, this is the stage for this week's top sport, and riders are coming to compete here for their share of over €500,000 across the course of the weekend. This arena will be packed out with spectators, 55,000 of them in fact, and they will all be cheering on their heroes. Riders will have come from over 20 different countries to compete here, but will the crowd have a home favourite to cheer for come the big classes? That will be the question. Well, of course, it wouldn't be an indoor horse show without a very impressive shopping village. And the spectators can come and pick up everything for horses, for riders, perhaps even for your pets, or you can just take home a little piece of Jumping Amsterdam. Well, this event was first held in 1958 and came to this very venue in 1961. The facilities here really are second to none for horses, riders and spectators. Well, one thing that is really unique about this venue is the warm-up ring. It's right in the centre of the venue, so spectators can get really up close and personal watching their heroes compete and get ready for their turn. The chute that takes them into the ring is then right here, so people can see them going in and out just moments before they take part in some of these biggest classes of the weekend.
Just terrific stuff. What a show. And these World Cup shows are really wonderful. They're inside, so it's a little bit of a break from that horrible weather outdoors. You can really enjoy your horse sport, settle in and enjoy it all. What a treat, and what a treat Jumping Amsterdam is set to be. Of course, it is a World Cup weekend, and the sport of dressage is also having its place across the weekend. In fact, we have already crowned a winner in our FEI Dressage World Cup Grand Prix. And of course, if you don't want any spoilers, you're looking forward to watching it yourself, close your ears now. But we do have a winner there, and she is one of our all-time faves, and it is Great Britain's own Charlotte Fry, who took that win aboard the beloved Glamour Dale. And you can have a little break there, my love, while we have a look at this dressage test.
A super start, really lovely halt and move off. Lovely through the extension, really opening the frame. Super bend and crossing in the half pass, really fluent. Enormous reach this horse has. Not quite square on that left hind. Using a little bit of straightness in the rein back. Good here through the passage. Lovely fluent transition into the piaffe. Keep the energy. Could just have seen a little bit more elasticity through the piaffe there. Still scoring 7s and 7.5s. Nice and fluent in the transitions. Good relaxation there in the walk. Really clear in the rhythm. Could just maybe have seen a bit more over track in the extended walk, but very good here through the collected walk. Transition nicely on her aids. Fluent through the transitions. Nice transition up to canter, lovely and uphill, and we know this is where this horse really picks up the marks in this canter work, especially the extension and the changes. I mean, they're just enormous, aren't they? Only just fits those in on that long diagonal line. They are so big. So much power through the extension. Looked like he got a little bit strong there at the end. Yeah, beautiful balance through the canter zigzag. Phew! Beautifully straight. Super one-time changes. Now for the canter pirouette. Nice preparation in. Kept the jump. Could have been a little smaller. But very well ridden by Lottie, yet smaller this time. Just lost a little bit of balance coming out, but very well ridden. You know, she rode the first one a little bit bigger on purpose and then was able to just tighten it up for the second one. You know, all these questions that these riders are asking of the horses, and you know, she knows that she's coming in tomorrow for the freestyle. They're just giving him that confidence to go for the bigger marks. Their personal best 81.258%. Currently sitting a little bit below 80. Have they done enough to overtake Isabel, who is currently in the lead? Just a little reminder there. And a beautiful halt to finish for Lottie Fry and Glamourdale for Great Britain.
Just a stunning performance there from Charlotte Fry, and Glamourdale, of course, snatching the win out of the hands of the Grand Dame of Dressage in Isabel Firth. So intense competition there in Amsterdam in the dressage as well, and really what an absolute masterclass to be performed in front of those audiences and so well received. Beautiful stuff. So we're talking about Amsterdam, and one of the most incredible things about this show, Charlotte, is that it's right in the heart of the city, as Hannah was saying earlier, and we have all of these enormous horse trucks making their way into this show, and it's a quirky little bit of information that is sort of a unique part of this show. So we sent our intrepid reporter Krista Hare to investigate how it all works.
It is a pretty weird situation. I mean, on my left-hand side there's the big Amsterdam city, the city center with all the channels, with the Anne Frank house, with the museum and everything. And on my right-hand side and on my left-hand side I do spot those big, horse trucks, those 5-star horse trucks. So what's happening here? Let's see if we can find an owner of one of these big trucks.
Yeah, it's always quite tricky to go with the big trucks in the city centers. Like now we are in Amsterdam, but we are also often in Rotterdam and like Monaco and Saint-Tropez and all this kind of shows. So it's always asking a bit of skills to drive. But luckily our grooms are very well trained in this. Normally it's more the home from our grooms because they always stay in the truck, so I see it more as their home. We always get normally a hotel from the show, and yeah, they stay in there. I think everybody is like very excited to be here. It's not only for us as Dutch riders, but also for the other countries. it's always a super nice show. They always take care of everything, and yeah, it's always super here.
Kim Emmen there. We're looking forward to catching up with her a little bit later if we can and seeing her in action, of course, in Amsterdam. Interesting, Kim was saying that with a show like that, the show has the riders in the hotels because often the riders, for people who are learning about the sport, new to the sport, they're jumping from show to show to show and the horses travel and different horses will travel to different shows. So the horses in Amsterdam won't be the same horses out next weekend for a particular rider. So it's important that the grooms, they have their lorries. It's like a home on wheels. The horses go in the back and they travel around. At the same time as that team in Amsterdam are travelling, there'll be a second team travelling with a second lot of horses off to a different show and Kim will just jump from spot to spot, won't she?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit like a travelling circus, but
only a little bit. No, a lot, I would say. There are a lot of similarities.
Yes.
We'll get into those a little bit later. We're going back to the sport. Of course, we've mentioned a few times, this is a World Cup. And if you are new to the sport of to have you on board. It's great to dig in and the World Cup's a good time to do it. It's a great series to really invest in. As we say, it's an indoor series. It can be fast, it can be furious and really, really exciting. So let's look at 4 facts about FEI Jumping World Cup. Of course, it's been going since 1978. There's Charlotte. Amsterdam is part of the Western European League. I think I mentioned that earlier. Several leagues around the world in which riders and horses compete to gain points. Of course, there are 14 legs. We're going to look at those in a minute. And the finals, 8th to the 12th of April in Fort Worth in Texas. What a show. We spoke about this last week. We know there's a lot of preparation going into that big final. There'll be a lot of pomp and ceremony. It'll be a big party for those finals there in Fort Worth in Texas. Certainly looking forward to those.
yeah, absolutely. I think the World Cup circuit really brings a lot of all in this big arena. A lot of people are very close to the action and it brings a very special atmosphere to the whole ordeal. It's very fun to actually be a part of it and be in the middle of all of that action.
Absolutely. And we talked about the legs of the World Cup. I mean, when we have a look at them, let's have a look at the 14 legs that make up this Western European League then. We've seen already some of them taking place at the end of 2025 there. Oslo, Lyon, Verona, Stuttgart, Coruña, London Excel just before Christmas, and then everybody coming back with their enormous Christmas hangover on Boxing Day for Mechelen in Belgium. And then as we go through, we go to Basel and Leipzig last week. We're in Amsterdam this weekend, and then it rolls on, and it really is like a bucket list of all the types of venues where, as horse lovers, horse girls, you'd either love to go and watch horse sport take place or would love to compete yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're actually nearing the end of this Western European League. Just Bordeaux, Gothenburg and Helsinki left before the finals. Helsinki, that's actually changed a little bit on the calendar. It used to be a little bit earlier in the year, but is now the closing leg, the last place where you can gain points to try and get to those finals in Fort Worth, Texas. And they're getting hungry. Riders are getting hungry to try and get those points and to try and get to those finals, because that's really where the riders want to be going.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to remember that while we have some of the biggest names obviously competing in this Western European League, you've got riders competing all around the world. You have them in Asia Pacific, you're in the Americas, of course. There are big names collecting points for the ultimate showdown there in April. So with that in mind then, let's have a look at the current top 10 in the Western European League, because this is all important as we have it all to play for this weekend. Lots of points on offer, but if you have a look at this table, sitting atop it there in first and second position, we have Richard Vogel and we have Johann Sebastian Gulliksen. And they, of course, have 56 and 53 points respectively. But all importantly, Willem Greve, 52 points. He is sitting right there. Those men at the top there, they're not playing this weekend. So it's all to play for Willem Greve.
Exactly. This is Willem's week to try and get to the top of that leaderboard. While Richard and Johann Sebastian aren't in Amsterdam, Willem can gather those points and try and lead that. We also see Julien Epeyard there, who is already automatically qualified. He's already had a very good season. They're in 5th place. he could do some things this weekend, but also he doesn't have to. Daniel Deusser isn't here, so this is really Willem Greve's week to try and get to the top there.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And you spoke of Julian Epiard as well. We should definitely give a nod to that man. He is our reigning champion as we head down towards the final in April. Of course, that incredible win aboard Donatello Doge, automatically qualified, as you say, as the reigning champion. So they have their spot in Texas, but it won't stop this man from getting out and competing because he just loves it. And what a thrill. He is one of the fastest men around. Now, I tell you, someone we love to hear from, we heard from her a little bit earlier, and I believe she is with Hannah Robson down by the warm-up there now. It's Kim Emmen.
Yes, thanks very much, Amy. I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by Kim Emmen this evening. Kim, thank you so much for coming and speaking to us. Talk to us a little bit about this show and your plans for the week.
Amsterdam is always a very nice show to be. The crowd is fantastic, very cheerful, and of course it's a home show, so that makes it even more special. I brought Helix, Imagine and Big Boston this week. Normally Imagine is for Sunday, he just had a little warm-up, he was clear, so it was good. Helix, I jumped the Grand Prix tomorrow. He also had a little warm-up in the 140, he was also clear, and then Big Boston jumps now the big class.
And so talk to us a bit about your World Cup series, because you've had one in particular very good leg recently.
Yes, in Basel was very good. I was very happy with my performance. Also the Grand Prix, my first 5-star Grand Prix win, so that was even more special. And also for Imagine, because he always jumps a lot of times clear, but he is not the quickest horse of the circuit. Okay, I was quite quick because they all had to change my time a little bit. But I was lucky this time, so it was nice for him also.
So off the back of that then, how are you going to approach this arena? Because a little bit a similar size to a lot of the other indoors, and do you think the speed will be important, or will you go for a steady clear today?
Okay, I have Big Boston today. He's also not the quickest. He has a lot of scope, and okay, I have him now since the beginning of last year, but he didn't. He's still quite new to the level, so he gives a good feeling. I go for it.
Who do you think is your biggest challenge today? Who do you think could be the riders that you've got to keep your eye on?
To be very honest, I have not looked on the list and the horses, so I have no idea.
Sticking to your own plan?
Yes.
Well, fantastic. I think the bell's just rung, so we better let you get off and walk the course. Thank you so much.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, we'll let Kim get on with preparing for her round. Of course, the course walk is just taking place, so the riders will be looking to see what they have to tackle. Amy, back to you in the studio.
Oh, lovely. Thanks to Hannah and, of course, to Kim there. Of course, a bit of a hometown hero. We love to watch Kim ride, don't we?
Absolutely.
Oh, she's been a highlight for me in some of the biggest events that we've been able to watch here. Really super stuff. Just love her. So calm. Another one of those riders that's just got that energy.
Ice in her veins.
Yeah, so calm, which is probably perfect when you're dealing with the kind of horses that she is. Great stuff. Looking forward to seeing that. We're going to dig into today's class then. It is, of course, this Telegraph Prize of Amsterdam. We are looking forward to it. It's a big one. It's a CSI 5-star. The height is 1.50 meters, so it's pretty full up. It's an international jumping competition with a jump off. So one round, keep all those poles up, no time penalties, and you go through to the jump off. It acts as qualification for the Grand Prix of Amsterdam. That is, of course, the class we will cover in tomorrow evening's show here in the In and Out studio. Looking forward to that one. And the prize money tonight is €56,800. See, I said that one right, didn't I?
Perfect.
Got it right that time. Not going to fail me, these numbers, absolutely not. We are going to dig into the Equa ratings analysis, Charlotte. You've been working on this with the team. They have been working hard all week getting stuck in here. Super exciting stuff in Leipzig last week. We roll straight into another World Cup leg. Let's talk about this show then. It is the Telegraph Prize, Amsterdam, the CSI 150, 1.50 meters, table A, one round with a jump off. So there you go. That is the hard and fast facts. Let's talk about then this class, because the interesting thing to note here, the standout factor, is that the previous winners, when you look at the list there, is almost total domination by German riders.
It's very interesting when you look at this previous winners list, because we know we're in the Netherlands, but when you look at that, you'd think we were in Germany. We are not. Actually, Daniel Deuser and Marcus Ehning have been swapping this title between themselves the last 4 or 5 years. Luckily for the Dutch crowd, though, they are both not here this weekend. No Daniel Deuser, no Marcus Ehning in Amsterdam this week. So perhaps we can see a Dutch rider take the win here. Michael van der Vleuten was the last to do it 7 years ago on Dana Blue. Michael is back this week. He's jumping tonight. He's jumping a 10-year-old called Kweitster van de Heffink. Just a 10-year-old, so a bit younger, but his last outing was in Mechelen, where he finished third in a very similar 150 class with a jump off, so one to look out for. There's a couple of other Dutch ones. I'm sure the Dutch crowd would love to see a Dutch winner here, but there's also a couple of German ones that can maybe prolong that German reign. Let's think of Mario Steves and Starissa, who are very strong in a jump off as well.
Yeah.
But I think the Dutch crowd would love to see their home riders in the jump off.
Yeah.
And we can talk a little bit about this jump off, because it really comes down to speed at the end of the day.
This is exactly right, because this is the fun fact that I loved coming out of what we were chatting about this week. In 2020, decided by, now this is the numbers again, isn't it? 0.02 seconds, how tiny these percentages, and we talk about percentages in equestrian sport all the time. It's the tiny percentages. So what you guys have said is once we get to the jump off, it is those tiny details that will matter at the end of the day, particularly here in this class.
Yes, and you can see that here. How many do we think will make it into that jump off? The last 5 years have been very stable. We've seen between 10 and 13 make the jump off. 13 in 3 of the last 5 runnings, so that is a very stable number. And of those 13 in the jump off, we've seen between 6 and 7 jump clear in that jump off, so 6 or 7 double clears. That means that it really comes down to that speed, and everyone's going to try and go faster than the one before them. And that's when we see those really narrow margins happen, like a 0.02, because they're trying to squeeze every little last bit out of their horse, out of that round, to try and get that win. And they really motivate each other. Once they see someone go fast, they're so motivated to go even faster.
Yeah, and so in the 3 of the last 5 editions, I love these facts. They just keep feeding me these water cooler facts, and I love it. Thank you, Team Equi Ratings. It's Derm, isn't it? Holed up in his little bunker, as we referred to last week. 3 of the last 5 editions, exactly 28% of the field jumped clear.
Yeah, exactly. So we can be expecting something very similar. 13 in a jump off, that's a pretty big jump off to be working with, but that makes it so exciting. That's where we see them trying to get better than the one before, and that's where we see those small margins as well. But we can actually take a look at who we are expecting to see in that jump off. We've looked at the predicted clear chances, and we see it there right at the top, a Dutch rider, and no other than Willem Greve and Grandorado Tien. I don't think that's a combination that needs a lot of introduction. They have been so steadfast for Team NL over the past couple of years. They've also had a win in Amsterdam before in a 150 class on the Sunday in 2024. So they know how to win in this arena, and they love to do it in front of a home crowd. Who doesn't? Who could challenge them? We see there Pier Giorgio Bucci and Hantano, very 55% chance of jumping clear. That's a combination that's really been on form recently for the 5-star team competitions, jumping clear for their nations. And then in their last outing in Geneva, remember they were in that top 10 in that really tough Rolex Grand Prix of Geneva. We have Luciana Diniz and Vertigo de Dessert, who, again, 17 years old, that horse now, but just keeps showing up. I mentioned for the Germans, Mario Steves and Starissa FRH we could be seeing in the jump off. Jur Vrieling in Grand Slam VDL, a great win last week. There's a couple of, if we're expecting 13 in the jump off, I'd be looking towards these 10 names to be amongst them.
Amazing, what a list. And as you said, like just on the precipice there. And you know, even Rob Whittaker and the likes of Vimento, such performers at this. They love a World Cup. Rob really, really loves this World Cup circuit. So does Vimento. Very good performers. They've won leg after leg in different series. So really interesting to see them come out at the top of the pile as well. And an absolute favourite of mine is Luciana Diniz. I mean, not only is that incredible bond with Vertigo, as you said, 17 years old, still performing at the highest level, at the best shows in the world. And this partnership is something to watch anyway, regardless of what we're saying about numbers, percentages, or how likely they are to win. Just to see them perform on that stage is really something else and worth sticking around for to watch. Yeah, like you say, plenty coming in those clear chances. If we then talk about one particular rider that we are focused on, and I know you touched on this man here, and it's almost hard to get past him, and it is Willem Greve. I keep calling him William. You know what I mean? It's a terrible thing. I keep putting the I in there where it isn't. Willem Greve, of course, a fantastic horseman, as we said, born into this equestrian world. His father, Jan, an accomplished veterinarian and a sport horse breeder. So this is, when we say it's in the blood, it is 100% in the blood here. They are dyed-in-the-wool horse people, and you can tell that with this gentleman.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a season this man has been having. With Pretty Woman van Paradijs, they have won back-to-back World Cup qualifiers already this season. Like we said, he's third on those standings currently of the Western European League. He's going to want to do well in front of his home crowd. A lot of that crowd are going to rally behind him. I don't think that you realize how much noise is going to come out of that arena when Willem Greve comes in, but how much noise we are going to hear when Willem Greve jumps a clear.
Yeah, there's going to be I think there's going to be some goosebump-giving moments coming out of this sport tonight. That is for sure. We love a big Friday and an indoor arena. Getting cozy to watch it if you're not there. Fantastic stuff, and you can watch it all here with us, of course. Well, the wonderful thing about Willem Greve is that he did take the time to hang out with Hannah throughout the course of the week, and he is this week's Rider in Focus.
My name is Willem Greve and I'm here at Jumping Amsterdam. Well, every Dutch rider wants to do well here in Amsterdam. The crowd, the electricity in the air, you can't describe it. The crowd is extremely enthusiastic. Yeah, you want to just be the best version of yourself here. And yeah, I had some really nice memories here. One time the Grand Prix in 2015 with my good old partner Karambol, and yeah, I have a special connection. I've been show sport director for a couple of years here, so no, it's a show that means a lot to me. Well, this weekend I brought actually my main three best horses: Pretty Woman van Paradijs NOP, Gramberado TN NOP, and upcoming star Party in the Hus. And the plan is to do Pretty Woman today in a 145, and then tomorrow day off, and then Sunday the World Cup. And Gramberado will jump tonight the 150, the Telegraph Prize, and then tomorrow night the Grand Prix. And Party in the Hus, he did very well in Basel. I gave him 2 small rounds, today a 140, tomorrow 145, and then Sunday morning there's a really nice 150 class. So I will jump him there. That's the main plan. The rankings itself doesn't say so much. It's most important you're with the best 18. I think I'm safe for the final, so it's more focusing on what's the best program for each horse individually. And I think, yeah, I think this is a good plan, and we go for that. It's the classicals of the sport. I think we can still remember who won all the World Cup finals, but we don't remember who won every week a 5-star show. Of course, prize money is important, and it's getting more and more and more, but the World Cup shows itself, and then the World Cup final, it's like a championships, and championships and medals will be remembered, and I think that counts very hard for me. And yeah, I think that's important, and these shows are super, and they're real horse shows. They're really enthusiastic crowd. If you're here or in Basel or in Gothenburg or Mechelen, it doesn't matter. They're real horse shows, and I think that's what makes the difference.
Just terrific stuff. Gorgeous pictures there as well coming out of Amsterdam. So interesting to hear Willem Greve talk about the fact that he's been so heavily involved in this show. He's acted as sport director as well at Jumping Amsterdam. So this is a rider who is not just thinking about his competitive career, but about the sport in a wider focus, which is really, really important and fantastic to hear. So lovely to spend time with Willem, and we're wishing him all the best tonight. I'm sure that Dutch crowd are going to be right behind him all night, aren't they?
100%.
Yeah, 100%. We have been following along with everything that's going on throughout the course of the week. As we say, we've had Hannah down there and in Amsterdam for us. She's been sort of having a chat with the riders, getting a bit of a feel of what's going on. We want to cross to Hannah now because she sort of wants to bring us up to date with some of the bits she's been catching up on. Hannah.
Yes, absolutely. It has been quite the week already. A couple of things that I really wanted to highlight for you, but we'll come on to the big name riders. But actually something I didn't personally appreciate is that they've actually had a whole day of national level competitions in this very ring yesterday. So it's a really interesting opportunity for those up and coming riders to perform on the exact same stage that some of their heroes will be jumping on today, tonight, the rest of the weekend as well. And that's something that I think is really quite unique about this venue. That arena is having a fantastic atmosphere throughout the day, throughout all days. Those stands are absolutely packed out. So what an opportunity for those younger riders as well. But speaking of youth, we have a few of the big names bringing forward some newer horses, and that's been a little bit one of the talking points of the week. Earlier on, I caught up with Julian Eppeyard, and he mentioned that this is a little bit of a building year for him as well. We, of course, also spoke to Michael van der Vleuten earlier on, and he also mentioned that in the first half of this year he's really building up a string of horses. A couple of his big names not quite up to feeling their best for this level, let's say, and he's really using some of these shows to build up that younger string, the 8, the 9, the 10-year-olds. So they're two big names who are using these sorts of shows to do just that. And what a fantastic atmosphere, because of course it's not just about the height and of the fences and the technicality of the courses, but it's atmospheres like this as well that you could really imagine a young horse taking a bit of time to get used to. So that's something that we've really been hearing a lot this week, that it's a great opportunity for those big name riders to do that. You might be able to see behind me, a few of them have actually just been coming out of that course walk. So they've been having a good look. Another name actually that I wanted to bring up, Hessel Hoekstra. We've heard a lot of talk about him. Of course, he's got that very consistent horse, not so many rounds, but super consistent when he has been competing, that one. And somebody described him earlier as a rising star of the Netherlands, a future star. And that very much is the feeling here, that they're seeing somebody on whose upward trajectory is just absolutely certain, and very exciting one to watch here tonight. But I'm sure they'll be absolutely getting behind all of the Dutch riders, seeing if we can have a Dutch win.
That's right. Hannah, well, thank you so much for doing all of that. And obviously we'll be calling security immediately because Hannah needs support down there. The crowd are already so excited. They're looking for their opportunity to get a bit on live TV as well. So hopefully they're all going to watch themselves back on Clip My Horse TV a little bit later on. She's got some fans for herself as well. Brilliant stuff, Hannah. Thank you so, so much. It's so great to have a reporter down there really listening, chatting to the riders, just embedded. Really brings us up to speed with what's happening in the sport. Really terrific stuff. And we're going to dig in now because we've got some, we've wound her up, everybody. We've wound her up and we're just about to let her go because we've got so much analysis to come. The Equa Ratings team, as I say, have been working so hard on all of this all week. I think we're going to dive straight in and we're going to talk about the ones on form, because some of the stuff that Hannah was bringing up there, of course, really echoes the same sentiments that the Equa Ratings team have found throughout the course of the week.
Yeah. Once we started looking into this class, I started getting more and more excited because there were so many storylines that are unfolding in this class. This is not a 5-star Grand Prix. This is a 150 on a Friday night. It's a big class, but we're not seeing the absolute superstars, but we're seeing a lot of really exciting horses come through. And we're going to have a look at the ones on form. We're looking at all the horses and riders in today's class, and we've looked at their form in the last 12 months at 4- and 5-star, 150 level and higher. And what's very interesting when we look at that is, look at the top there. We're seeing Hessel Hoekstra and VDL Mindset ES. Mindset is just a 9-year-old horse. I want to remind you, we are just in January, so he's very newly turned 9 years old. Jumped 6 rounds at that level and 5 clear rounds, maintaining a clear rate of 83%, which is really, really strong. At the London International Horse Show just a couple of weeks ago in December there, he picked up 3 top 5 finishes at just 8 years old at the time. So really kind of coming up on the scene. This is going to be a time for this horse to shine, and also on home soil. Young horse, young rider, but very exciting. More experience then comes from Jur Vrieling and Grand Slam VDL. You were in the studio in Leipzig when this combination took the win in that 150 class.
Just unbelievable stuff, wasn't it? I mean, the contrast is, as Hannah was saying, you know, they're talking about Hessel Hoekstra as this rising star, a very quick trajectory, upwardly moving in his career, and some super stuff. Could be really, really exciting tonight as we see them take to this arena. But that combination, unbelievable.
So strong. We've mentioned very briefly Per Giorgio Bucci and Hantano as ones with one of the highest clear chances this evening. Here we see them in Geneva, where they finished in that top 10 in the Rolex Grand Prix. Just incredibly dependable for the team, but also for himself. You know, they are a World Cup winner in Madrid just a couple of years ago. They're going to maybe try and focus on tomorrow's Grand Prix or the World Cup, but they're still going to want to put a clear on the board today, and I think they will do that. Then we'll move on to Ode Charlotte Lingver and Carabella van der Nijen. This is a combination that has completely stolen my heart over the...
Yeah.
They're just, it look like poetry in motion.
Yeah.
They're in La Coruña finishing on the podium in that World Cup, but it just looks like so much fun, and they make it look so easy. I mean, Amy, look at them.
Look at them. And absolutely loving it. I mean, just really easy, really classy. And again, just one that has sort of risen, sort of emerged in recent times, and amazing stuff. Now, we touched there on Jur Vrieling and Grand Slam VDL. 57% is the clear rate there for that combination. But you just can't look past them. Just 2 superstars together, and what a combination.
Yeah, absolutely. And 57% is very high, because if you look at the column next to it, that's where we see the average course clear rate. That's what the average competitor did, and that was 26%. So they have been performing way above average together in this very new partnership. They've only been paired for a couple of months, and they really, really seem to gel together. I think we had this conversation earlier, actually, Amy. Jur Vrieling is one of my all-time favorite riders. I think he is such a talented, gifted rider. And then to be paired with a horse like Grand Slam VDL, also, you know, bred in the Netherlands. So there's this really kind of hometown hope in these 2 combinations that are most on form in this field.
Yeah.
It's very, very exciting.
Super stuff, and it was lovely. We heard from you last weekend, and he was just so thrilled, so proud of the horse, so proud of the work that they had put in. And it was just such a moment to enjoy, because those highs, they are hard to come by in these sports. They really, really are, and they are hard fought, and really deservedly won, and he was absolutely thrilled. Pure joy, and we loved seeing it. And just on that list too, you know, names like Deluxe Van Tienel and Niels Bonseels, really great to see these guys out. I just love that combination as well.
Yeah, also, you know, not the youngest horse anymore, 17 years old. I think we discussed that a little bit earlier, but great to see them back at this level again. And alongside such a experienced combination, alongside a combination like Hessel Hoekstra and VDL Mindset ES, like, that contrast is amazing to see in a class like tonight, where we have Michael van der Vleuten with a younger horse, with Quastor van de Heffing that we discussed a little bit earlier, just a 10-year-old, and Jill Thomas as well, with Chuck Mariens Hofstede. This combination we're going to discuss a little bit more at length. 24 rounds at 150 plus in the last 12 months, 11 clears, 46% clear rate, way above average. But they're coming in this evening as the favourites to win. They've had an incredible run of form, like you can see by the numbers, but also by their results. So Gilles only took over the ride on this horse at the end of 2024, but they've really kind of gelled together and really gone up the levels. They have won the 4-star Grand Prix in Stockholm late last year, their first big win together, but then at the end of the year in Mechelen on home soil also finished 4th in that 5-star Grand Prix. So this is a horse that's ready for this kind of bigger step up, ready to shine, and I know our prediction center has them down as the favorites, but in my heart as well, they're one of my favorites, because they just seem to go so well together.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know, we're a big fan of Gilles, of course, and of the riding, of the string of horses that he has in his stable. So, could this be a night for him? What an incredible career too for this rider.
Absolutely. And he has such a strong string of horses that really kind of brings it together. He has, of course, the incredibly beautiful Hermitage Cologne. Calista DN, a rising star, now 10 years old, who's also in Amsterdam. We're really looking forward to seeing that combination tomorrow or maybe on Sunday in the World Cup. And then he has Chuck Marienhof. So he has this really strong string of horses that are really catapulting him. He jumped his first IJRC Rolex Top 10 final in Geneva last year. He's really amongst the top of the sport, and he's only 26, 27 years old.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. And that just goes to show you what what dedication to this sport can really mean. With that in mind then, talking about Gilles aboard Chuck as our favourite going in, we have to then compare and contrast that to the one in form, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to compare the favourite versus the form. And it's interesting because we've got two very young men actually going head to head in this situation. We have Chuck, who is 11 years old. We have VDL Mindset ES, who is 9 years old. So a bit of an age difference. So you'll see that in the numbers that they've competed as well. So Chuck has jumped 25 rounds, 11
you said
clears.
The horses were 11. Gilles, not Gilles.
They're young, but they're not that young. A 44% clear rate for Chuck Marienhof compared to VDL Mindset's ES 83%, which is almost double. But it's hard to maintain that type of clear rate over the volume that Chuck has managed to maintain. Obviously, Chuck has a couple more wins because he's been at this level for a bit longer, and a couple more podiums as well. But I like this contrast because you really have this horse that's been at this level for a little bit longer, and then this rising up and coming star kind of wanting to become what Chuck Marienhof already is. But I think we're going to be seeing a really good performance from both of these combinations because, yes, VDL Mindset ES has the form, but Chuck Marienhof has it too with that win in Stockholm, with that fourth place in Mechelen that we're looking at now. They're two really, really strong contenders.
Yeah, incredibly strong contenders. And as you say, for Gilles, as this string continues to build, and for a young man, like we can see, he's just going from strength to strength to strength. But comparing those two horses is very interesting too, because of course the percentages are higher there because the rounds for a horse like Mindset hasn't jumped as much at this level, but has had such a consistent performance so far. So here's to hoping that things continue in that vein, so this horse stays at the top of the ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, what Hessel has the advantage of is that full support of that home crowd. I'm sure his family are in the stands, being there to support him. And, you'll see all the Dutch flags, maybe some orange in the crowd. That really does help with the motivation.
Absolutely. As we say, a rising star, an up-and-comer, so they will certainly be cheering him on there in Amsterdam. Big crowd, it's all getting very exciting. I can see from the pictures that are happening in Amsterdam now, the arena is dark. They are preparing to get ready for this class, but we need to then get to the pointy end of things, I think, because remembering that this class is one round with a jump off. So the first round, obviously going through the obstacles at about 1.50 meters. The aim of the game is to get round clear. So all of the poles stay in the cups, they stay as they are set, and you don't get any points for time. So you have to stay within a time allowed as well in that first round. If you do that, you go through to the jump off. And I think we said earlier, we're pretty hopeful based on the stats and the numbers that we should get around a dozen, maybe 13 through to that jump off. So a nice chunky, full jump off, plenty of sport and action coming out of that as well, which was what we had last week as well. We weren't quite expecting it there in Leipzig. But let's then take a look at who's dangerous in a jump off.
Yeah, so we've looked at who we think might make the jump off. Now let's look at who, can really mean something when they get to that jump off. And at the top there, one of the most experienced jump off combinations, of course, Robert Whittaker and Vermento. We've seen them on the World Cup circuit for the past couple of seasons. They took a win in Helsinki. They were a two-time winner of the King George V Cup. We know what they can do in a jump off. They know how to deliver. They've been actually in 31 150 plus jump offs. jumped clear in 20 of them, and picked up 12 podiums.
Yeah.
So you can almost kind of say that if they jump clear in their jump off, they're very likely to hit that podium. A little bit more clinical then is Mario Stevens and Starissa FRH. We've talked about the past winners of this class being German. Mario Stevens and Starissa are the ones to watch to try and extend that German streak. They have been incredibly clinical in their jump-off rounds, 17 of them, of which 12 were clear, 71% clear rate. They convert a little bit less than Vermento and Robert do, so 6 podiums from those 12 jump-off clears. If they're clearing the jump-off, there's a 50% chance that they actually hit that podium. But this is what the Dutch crowd want to see. They want to see Grand Dorado TN and Willem Greve in that jump-off. And if they're in the jump-off, it's good news. 19 jump-off rounds, 11 jump-off clears, of which 9 are podiums. If they can stay clear in that jump-off, there's a pretty good chance that they will hit a podium and a kind of 50% chance that they'll take the win. What's interesting is Willem Greve and Grand Dorado are quite early to go in the draw. They're 8th to go. It's very well possible that they are the first ones to go in a jump-off, if it comes to that. And that's when they set the standard. And that's when the others try and reach the time. That's when they try and get the margins out. So that can be incredibly exciting for them to be first to go.
Yeah, really exciting if they go early. We saw Steve Godat go very, very early in the jump-off on Saturday, I think it was, Saturday, last weekend. He was about 3rd to go, and it wasn't setting a blistering pace, but boy, did he lay it down, and everybody was chasing thereafter, weren't they? Yeah, some really interesting rounds there. Again, I think, really exciting to see Luciana Diniz come out with Vertigo. Really good chance, if she's in the jump-off, solid through there. And I think you can't deny Robert Whittaker and Vermento. We love this story, and I wheel it out every time. It's such a good anecdote, but he is the son of John Whittaker, the great John Whittaker, and John has the great pleasure of saying that he bred not just the rider, but he also bred the horse. So it's an incredible story when it does happen, these great victories, and we've seen them have some incredible wins, this combination. When they win, they really win very convincingly. So that could be some super stuff coming our way. So, talking of all of that, we're getting down to things now. We have to talk about the win chances. We've got it down. You work the numbers where you can get to a percentage where we can look at who is the most likely to take this home.
Well, we've talked about them at length. It's our blonde phenomenon, Gilles Thomas and Chuck Marienshoff. 12% chance of taking the win.
About me. Oh, that's a shame.
Katarina Romberg, Calestis Cambridge, also a very strong form coming from them. Julien Epaillard and Easy-Up de Grandry. Look, when Julien hits a jump off, we can never discount that man. A 10% chance of that combination taking the win. We've discussed Robert Whittaker and Vermento, 8%. Michael van der Vleuten as well. Michael van der Vleuten, Willem Greve are the big chances for the Dutch. Ora Charlotte Lingvar, who are on some incredible form. Jos Verlooy, Etundel de Marossi, who jumped very, very strong in that Basel World Cup for just 1 down. Will be very interesting to watch tonight. And of course, Jurf Rieling and Grand Slam VDL as well for that Dutch team. There's a couple of very strong Dutch combinations I think that the Dutch crowd will really rally behind and try and get them over those fences clear and in a very fast time in the jump off.
Yeah, so if you had to pick a winner there, Miss Charlotte, who are you going for?
Well, I said it at the start of our show. I think my heart pick is Gilles Thomas and Chuck Marienshoff. And that was even before I saw the numbers. I thought this could be their night. They've been building towards something. They got that win in Stockholm. They were very close to the podium in Mechelen. Now it's time for them to take the win again.
Yeah, it's time. It's their time. Step up. It is your time, Big Chuck. I think for me, I'm going to be forced to name a name. I think if you're going to look at someone, I think you just can't look past Grand Slam VDL. I mean, I just don't know if you can. A lot of momentum behind a horse like that, a lot of momentum behind a combination like that going into a class like this.
Absolutely. And what's actually really interesting about Grand Slam in this class tonight is he's actually competing alongside two of his sons who are also jumping in this class.
Amazing stuff. Well, I think that's going to be my choice. We have our first horse in the ring. So without further ado, let's get down to the sport for this prize of Amsterdam.
Good start to having picked up a position inside the prize money in our earlier two-phase class. There's a partner, your own Double Down, watching on from the Kiss and Cry. And if you're just joining us from the in-out studio, you are in the right place, because you will get all of the behind the scenes and the riders' interviews throughout the class, and especially in the break before the jump off. If you're not